Good day. I'm Dr. Paul Bayliss, Senior Specialist Art Curator, and welcome to the Absa Art Hot Spot. Today we've got a special opportunity to meet with our 2013 Absa L'Atelier winner, Pauline Gutter. Many of you are probably familiar with her, having met her or seen her work in galleries, in museums, and corporate collections across South Africa. But today, she's going to give us a unique special masterclass. She's going to share with us her inspiration, her passion, and what motivates her. And at the same time, we're going to have insight to see where she crafts, to see where she works, as she takes us through her personal space, her studio on a farm just outside Bloemfontein. Before we hand over to Pauline for her to take us through the masterclass today, a bit about who Pauline Gutter is. She's a Free State-based South African painter and intermedia artist. She was born in 1980 and obtained a BA degree in Fine Arts cum laude for painting at the University of the Free State, Bloemfontein. She was awarded Honours Colours in Arts and Culture at the same university. She's winner of the 2013 Absa L'Atelier art competition, but has also received numerous awards. She was awarded in 2011 the Helgett Steyn Award for painting, and in 2012 she received the Mail and Guardian 200 Young South Africans Award. She has attended numerous international residencies, participated in numerous solo and group exhibitions, and her artwork is in a number of private collections, museum collections, as well as corporate collections, including the Absa corporate collection. So it really is a great honor to be able to have this time with Pauline Gutter as she takes us through a very special and unique art masterclass. To our viewer, please enjoy this moment and sit back and relax. Pauline, welcome, and I'm handing over through to you. Thank you very much for joining us from the Free State.
To start off, when I plan my exhibitions, my next solo exhibition is going to be held at the University of Johannesburg, the UJ Gallery. So it's always for me important to start with a scale model. So as you can see, it's the gallery, and it's a very difficult space because the whole gallery is about 50 meters long, and so here is the entrance, and then the curator's office, etc. And so I think it's very important to really plan everything. And everybody knows me for my bull paintings. And for the first time, actually, for this exhibition, I've started working with birds. I started with, but this is like the fallen peace dove slash half-eaten rice pigeon. It's about grond, like the lowering water levels, the droughts, and it's almost like if you listen to the metaphor of there's no haan gaan nie daarna kraai nie. So that's where I started with the first one. To the exterior, this is basically where I work at the moment. So I want to show you, this is my biggest love. My wax and my pigment. This is my system. I've got a little slipper here. Obviously I put water in, otherwise it can burn. And the thing about when it gets too heated, the hairs of the brushes just start crumbling up. And so it's a very fine balance, the whole process. And then when say you use a metal thing and you heat it, I mean, this is the fleshy part, this is the leg, this is you do want to get that sense of the transparency, so that when you have feathers got a different texture to the legs. So for me, it's very important that what you are painting should also always translate in the way that you do the mark making. The wax basically melts before you put it up, but then also it gives a much more layering process. And then when you apply heat again, um, it's almost as if the colors start to mix. It's a long process of preparation. So I usually start with the rabbit skin glue to just to shrink the canvas. And if you think about Francis Bacon, he um, he used raw canvas, and for him it's like the way you use a water paint. You only have got one chance, and it's an interesting process because then when you decide to build up, my work have always been very layered. So then I interweave the layering, and it becomes new meanings. And to come back to the canvas, this canvas I've started with, as you can see, it's a very synthetic um, a very synthetic canvas. So um, as the process is built up and as you get this, so this was also from the Niceness series where it was just a house down the road. And I think that is what's very important when you go to residencies, when you start tapping into um, the realness of your surrounding, you become aware of subtle things. And sometimes ideas takes lots of time to develop. See, it was actually cooking window. Um, and then, but for me, the lady at the residency said they survived the fire. But she said for her, it was the feeling of the people from Nassau were very traumatized. And she said it was as if the trees were crying. And when I saw this tree in the middle of this sidebars that went like this, it immediately gave me the sense of like a church window. So in a sense, this is the title of this work is an ode to the trees that died in the national fires. For me, in charcoal, it's a lot of the moving forward and the moving back. So there's a constant movement of when you are here, actually here very closely, and then moving back, and it also becomes like um, the theatrical. You can't just go and on the internet and take a picture. You really have to understand what you're doing, and that is, so I think, what is very important is to be very truthful and honest to yourself, and that's the only way how you will be able to do good work.
What's the importance of life experience in your art production?
Well, you have to see opportunities and you have to take it. And I once read an article which said that the moment you start complaining, that moment you start blocking the pathways in your brain. So for me, it's always about the process, and I think that is also what farming teaches you. It teaches you to be humble, and it teaches you that you're like exposed to all the elements, but it's a very hard working process. So one of my most interesting experiences was in my 30 I went with the folk dancing to the first Ikasi, and there I met Jan Horn and the camera team with JJ and Dirk, and um, I mean, it was interesting. So that's where my interest for video art started, and we had lots of conversations. And then Jan Horn invited me to do a video art. I don't know if you remember. I think it was 2003. It was a finalist in the Absa L'Atelier of sunflower harvesting. So you meet mentors on your road, and when you are young, you've got energy. But if you use your energy and you are curious and you work, I know like Gordon Froud have an amazing way to activate students and to come on board. And so to come back to the story of the bologna slices of the spectrum, is I think is just like find your own journey, and don't think. I mean, Robert Hodgins only like became famous when he turned 60. So, like um, it's a journey.
But I think it's important to also highlight on the journey to stick out the journey and to follow it through to its completion. I think a lot of our youngsters, and maybe you want to highlight this, don't necessarily want to do the hard yards that you've done. We live in this world of instant gratification and wanting instant results. But you have to do the hard yards to get to the end. Do you want to maybe elaborate on that a bit?
People think when you're an artist, they can just pop into your studio and, like have lots of chat and spend time. But if you're really an artist, you have to sweat the hours. You have to work like 10, 12, 15 hours. You have to have that constant flow. And that's the only way how you will grow. But also it's like is say you make 20 artworks, maybe one work is going to be um, a, a, a very groundbreaking work, and the more and not to feel precious. That so sometimes when you make a painting or an artwork and it doesn't work, you have to abandon it. For me, my work and my mark making comes from um, you have to fix things on a farm. You can't just get in your car and buy some new things or buy some new stuff. You have to make plans. You have to make use with what you have, and then only through working through that process and working and um, drawing is very important, and keeping visual diaries is also very important, because it helps you to formulate ideas and meanings and giving things that in depth quality, um, that that is for me timeless. One of the questions that I always ask um, is what separates, say, Rembrandt in his time. I'm sure there was a lot of people that could do the same technique, that could do the same things, but what really makes your work timeless, especially music. So that's some of the questions that that I always think. Yeah,
So it's also always having an inquiry in mind.
absolutely, and lots of enthusiasm and energy.
How do you keep yourself motivated?
Go to exhibition openings, have lots of fun. Um, yeah, meeting interesting people, uh, and like if I can refer back to the stunt exhibition, it's about characters. It's about for me, I'm very drawn to very strong characters, and yeah, and horses. I love horse riding.
As you say, living in the moment and making the most of what the moment has to offer you.
And I think the moment when you start doing that, things pop up along the journey, because there's a flow of a process.
Pauline, thank you very much. But in closing, what advice would you give for a young artist that is actually watching this and saying, I want to be like Pauline Gutter. I want to have that exciting journey that you've been on. I want to be able to be see myself in solar exhibitions, see my works in corporate galleries, museums, etc. What advice would you give for that young artist now watching you?
I think just to be true and honest, that is the biggest thing, and to really look at other artists' work, and that is the biggest thing. How you learn. It's not through like copying or following trends. It's about setting trends, I'd say.